It is Wednesday, August 28th, and wait, it's the 28th, right? Yeah, it's the 28th. Okay, it's Wednesday, August 28th. We have a new moon with a whole lot of Virgo energy coming on Friday, the 30th. And I'm a rad dad today. Not really. I just have the rad dad mug. So I thought this would be a really good time to talk about the moon card in tarot. This is from my Revelations tarot deck that my friend got me for my birthday, which is a really awesome deck and I love it. Good morning, Ellie. It's good to see you. The moon card in a more standard deck looks like this. There's similarities, right? This one has dogs, a path, a crustacean, lobster thing, towers, the sun and the moon kind of merged together. All of that is important symbolism. They don't all have that on them, right? We're going to talk about all the different things the moon can mean, though, because the moon is a kind of... All of the cards have lots of ways of being interpreted. The moon, I tend to see people like moving in the direction of like one layer of interpretation and kind of forgetting that the moon has a lot going on with it. A lot going on. So think about the actual moon. What does the moon do? It goes from being full to dark. It's completely illuminated, and then over this 28-day cycle, it wanes into darkness, and then it waxes back into fullness again. And so as we move into this new moon, it is a time when the moon is becoming dark. It is waning, so the energy, the light is going away. That is an important aspect of the moon card. The moon is about going into our depths, into our subconscious, into some deeper feelings. And the moon can speak to feeling pulled, like our feelings are threatening to engulf us, like things aren't fully in our control. If you think about the full moon, that tends to be a time when the energy gets a little wonky. People have trouble sleeping, there's higher rates of crime, there tends to be more accidents. The full moon is a time where, we have the whole werewolf mythology, all of that. The moon is seen as this energy that has the power to pull us. It pulls the tides. It pulls our emotions. It can make us feel like we're not fully in control, or our feelings are so big. And that's partly what the water in the card speaks to. But if you'll notice on a more traditional moon card, see the dogs like howling, looking up at the moon. There is earth on the card, and there's a path leading to, like, these are said to be the gates of heaven, right? There's a journey. We go through this long journey to go between the gates. The gates have parted. So part of the information with the moon card is that there is an opening happening, that if we can trust ourselves to navigate the feelings, we don't have to stay in the ocean. We can follow this river or this path through this channel. If we give ourselves some structure and grounding, we have a safe space to move with those feelings, because there might be something valuable in taking that journey. Those feelings might be coming up to bring us closer to something we are wanting to experience, and then the illumination happens. The sun and the moon being together speaks to feeling like, I don't even know, like when the moon is out and it's nighttime, things can look different. You can feel like you're in a dream. You can feel that lunar energy has an element of mystery to it, or a little bit of confusion, like things aren't quite what they seem. It's not the same as when it's daytime, but when the moon is full, it can be pretty bright. It's not the same as daytime, though. And so there's an element or an aspect to the moon card of delusion, illusion, things playing tricks on you, not knowing like what's really going on. There's not quite that firmness that we have that surety that we have at other times of our lives, at, when the sun is out, all of that. So I'm going to show you this card too, the moon, in my Raven's Prophecy deck. It's a raven who's like trying to like swallow the moon, like a pearl. There's a whole story behind that that I'm not going to get into right now, but it's depicted here as a full moon with the threat of the raven swallowing it. So again, there's a theme with the moon of things not being stable. They're not going to stay just one way. You can't put your finger on it and say it is this. The moon is always full, because it's not. The moon is always there. Well, that raven might swallow it, so it won't always be there. It's not a light we can necessarily hold on to, but does that mean we can't trust it? It does mean we need to be a little more cautious. It does ask us to take a risk, to move into something undefined, changeable, but it's not necessarily dangerous. It can be, there is a threat, there's a risk with the moon, but there's also a seduction. The moon can pull us into feelings that we almost want to surrender to. So depending on how the moon shows up in a reading, it's going to really change how I interpret that card. And I like knowing all of the possible interpretations of it. When the moon is up right here, there's these little fairies. The moon doesn't have to be scary. It can be a really awesome card of illumination, of you trusting your intuition more, of having unexpected awarenesses, dreams, support showing up, of moving into a realm where you feel more comfortable trusting your changeable lunar nature, trusting your feminine energy, surrendering a little bit. And in that way, coming into a new relationship with yourself and with your own power, your own capacity to understand, to use different senses and different lenses and different ways of receiving information, that it doesn't always have to be clear and logical and spelled out, that there's actually really valuable information that can come in when we let ourselves open up to a little more mystery. So that is a quick synopsis of some of the representations of the moon, and I encourage you to go with what you feel guided to. When I am doing a reading and the moon card shows up, obviously the position in the reading of that card is going to inform how I interpret it, but I also let myself go to whatever I'm going to. If I'm going more towards, this could be you're feeling pulled in a way that doesn't feel very safe, I'll speak to that. If what I sense and feel is to speak to, you're really opening to your intuition, then that's what I speak to. There's not a right or wrong. There is an intuitive aspect to reading these cards, and you have to trust where you feel guided to go. And when you're reading for someone else, it can also be a conversation. You don't have to just think you have to have all the answers on someone else's life. You can speak to, hey, what do you see in this card? What does the moon mean to you? When you think of the moon, what does that mean? Because the moon is showing up as a symbol for that person. So what the moon means to them is relevant. And then you might be able to help shift or expand their perspective by saying, okay, you might be feeling this way, but did you know the moon can also represent this? And maybe part of the journey is that you're being asked to shift from this interpretation or this feeling or your lived experience of like, here's what I always think the moon represents, into an expanded interpretation that includes a different perspective. So yeah, all that to say, the new moon is coming up. The moon will be dark. It's a great time for accessing deeper parts of yourself, for honoring your intuition, and for setting intentions for what's to come. So I wish you all a happy new moon on Friday, and I'll see you next week. Bye.